Imagine being the lab rat favored by the master of the magic tower, just because your intelligence allowed you to present a thesis that defied all limits of magic. Because of this, since you trusted him completely, you were betrayed and tortured for many years. When you thought you couldn't take it anymore and wished for death, a dark entity filled with thirst for revenge gave you the strength to endure a few more days. And that's how you destroyed the entire magic tower upon escaping. You're a strong mage, but you're still not at the level needed to take revenge on everyone who hurt you. Welcome to this incredible series, The Dark Night. A gloomy castle, noises that make people shudder when they hear them. Someone groaning in pain while another voice tells him to control himself. He's an idiot. He's just getting started, he can't afford to pass out. He's injecting the stimulant once again, blood everywhere. He's lasted a total of 461 seconds. Seems like he lasted a bit longer with the reactive. This time, seeing the result produced by a talented experimental subject, he really is different. We see this person chained up, and we're in the Moamir Magic Tower, 461 seconds after the 70-second stimulant. From the magic power circle, they say the magic circle activated and the immunization reaction was suppressed. This feels like a class where the tortured is the student. This is good. They'll try to inject a stimulant to expand memory. This magic tower, known as the strongest in the empire, is slowly dying. But you might wonder why someone like him, said to possess a prestigious and prodigious mind, ended up in this place. But now you should know why. While forcibly manifesting the stimulant, still in a lot of pain and torture, he screams for them to stop, begging them. He wants them to stop, but it's too loud. They'll report once the experiment ends, while the students understand what he says. He doesn't know why he's dying in a magic tower, a place he dreamed of being. He was an idiot to think this would be good for him. At that moment, they grab his head. How does it feel? Verdan, think about it. You have zero talent as a mage. You got like this just because people praised you. A little for being smart. That's why your life force and knowledge are being extracted in this secret research lab. Come on, act like the know-it-all you used to be. They want him to talk about how smart he is. They assume he can't even faint in his current state. He thinks they're not listening, but they are talking to him. But he's just staring at a tiny ant, not understanding what's happening. The experimental ants have broken loose. They need to handle this properly. They can't even handle this, and soon they'll feel it. They apologize to Mr. Weller. They're stupid idiots, then step on the ant and crush it. Although, thinking about it, this idiot is basically an insect. He doesn't have a shred of magical power to even break a single chain. That's why there's no reaction, though that's good for them. After all, it's thanks to him they have an S-rank experimental subject in their hands. But why did the friend, who entered the magic tower with him, to get a scholarship to study abroad? He regrets that Roblin has a friend like him. But why? He's right if we look at the crushed ant, but now he sees it. Everything happening now is because of that. But what is he muttering? He wants him to shut up. He's angry and tells him to be quiet. They're all sons of bitches. This is all because he's too weak. But to understand why he's living this torture, we have to go back to when it all began. 15 years ago, he grew up in an orphanage. All he wanted was to become an incredible mage. In the end, he joined the magic tower as a regular worker to learn magic. But no matter how hard he worked, he couldn't become a mage. All because of the rank 1 growth limit that was the magical compatibility test. He took at age 7. That basically meant he couldn't become a mage without talent. That was essentially a death sentence for him, whose lifelong dream was to become a mage. But still, he couldn't give up, because his only dream was secretly to become a great mage. He skimmed through grimoires given to him in his quarters while working as a magic tower laborer. He also learned the essentials from countless books in the tower's library. Though he lacked much magical power, he was confident when it came to intelligence. Years passed, and someone told Verdan he was a genius. He finally became a magic tower researcher. But they couldn't believe it, he was more than a genius. How could a regular researcher come up with something like that? Then, he realized a truth even he didn't know yet. His intelligence wasn't just talent, he was in the genius realm. Meanwhile, our protagonist raises his thanks. He needed to pass that thesis before it was presented, and thanks to him, he could. But he tells him to wait. He asks if he's the first person he's shown it to. He hasn't shown it to anyone else, he says, but he's the only one he's shared it with. But if that's the case, then there's something he must do. Lucar, the only researcher he approached, finally remembered him. Maybe he could stay in the magic tower, not as a laborer, but as a magic scholar. Or so he thought, until Lucar presented his thesis as his own. It was too late when he realized. He went straight to the master of the tower, begging them to believe the thesis was his. He disappeared the day before it was supposed to be presented, so Lucas presented it under his own name. So you're saying he's the tutor in the multi-dimensional continuity theory? And yes, he's the esteemed master of the Bohemer Magic Tower. Surely he won't let this slide. But that's what he thought. He tells the master of the tower that if allowed, he will explain everything from the beginning. But to him, it's surprising. He had no idea there was so much talent among the regular researchers. Surprising him, if only he hadn't gone to the master of the tower that day, who told him to come to his lab in 2 days when the moon is hidden. If he had fled the tower, he could have lived a normal life for the next 7 years. That's how he was forcibly condemned in the master of the tower's lab, thrown there by those stupid classmates I once knew. He became the day laborer and the night test subject. They told him to create a magic circle and validate his theory, to inject drugs into his veins and observe his reactions, invent a new potion, and test its effects, dedicating his life to the magic tower. Even if he tried to reveal the truth, no one would believe him. All he got in return were threats from the master of the tower to kill the people he cared about. Lying there, he knows it's all over. What can he do now? At that moment, we flash back to a memory where someone calls him Bernard. That person must be Robin. He doesn't know what this is a worker. He wanted him to move, but this is his childhood. Robin wanted to become a great mage with him when they grew up. They made a promise, a pinky promise, but without growth potential. If he had been a little older, things might have turned out differently. He must admit it, now it's all over, and he's just there in that cell. But at that moment, we see the ants. That sound again. He hears it every time they experiment. He no longer knows if he has any strength left. Maybe it's better to just die. But a voice asks if he's serious. Is that really how he feels? But it tells him not yet. Not yet, it's not over. All these ants start taking shape for the sake of revenge and survival. He must grit his teeth, wait, and endure it over and over. Then he'll be reborn so he'll never be trampled again, so he can wield great power and surpass his limits. He just clenches his fists, knowing this isn't over yet. He has to sharpen the blade of revenge he's been honing for the last 7 years, with everything he has so far. If only he could solve the last problem that he can't decipher before a greater power. Having a smarter mind isn't enough. If that's the case, then he just needs to challenge his fate. It will redefine you. The theoretical framework and complete body reconstruction method. Never seen before, the theory of defying heaven tomorrow. He's going to break his limits. The insane theory of defying heaven that will allow him to rebuild his body was only completed when he accepted death. Now all that's left is to test the theory, the artifact that will let him cast magic once. Even if this magicless body is destroyed in the process, tomorrow night he'll regain his freedom. The long night passed, and finally the day to put his plan into motion has arrived. They treated him like trash as always. Time to clean the alchemy lab. He can't just stand there. He has to clean the bloodstains and cover the cuts. He complains about just a bit of experimentation. This is pathetic. The festival is coming, so don't think about slacking off. He heard that. They want him to respond. But he just says yes. Our protagonist has done the tasks he was assigned. He asks Roblin if she's cleaning alone, and she says yes. What's she doing here? She came to say goodbye before leaving, right? She said she'd study in the magical city of Verenti. That's a special privilege only given to exceptional talents of the tower. Congratulations, and she hopes he does well. She tells Verdan her offer still stands. She wants him to go with her. Unlike here, there he won't have to put up with arrogant fools who look down on him. Maybe he'll find new learning opportunities in the magical city. And also, but don't get the wrong idea, she blushes. She just wanted someone to talk to. That's all. But she tells Robin not to worry because she'll stay there. She'll write letters, and he just watches his friend leave. She knows nothing about what's happened all this time here. She doesn't even know what he's endured all this time. Still, there's something he's grateful for, that he won't get caught up in her plan. The Magic Festival, one of the most renowned holidays worldwide, commemorating the construction of the first magic tower. It's the busiest day for the tower once the Magic Festival starts. High-ranking mages belong to the main cities, and only low-ranking ones remain. It's just them, and then Verdan. It knocks on the door. He wants to know what brings him here, but the master asked him to clean the treasure vaults. He should have asked for permission in advance. He hadn't even thought about that. What a dumbass. But he wouldn't dare scratch or lose a single thing. Our protagonist manages to get in. He activated the artifact to block sound. Now it's time to start. He begins descending very long stairs, reaching the center. It's the second circuit, the artificial artifact, the master of the tower created with an astronomical amount of money. It allows a mage to perform triple spell cast and temporarily awakens the latent talent of whoever wields it. To execute his plan, he needs this staff. And to get it, he must deactivate the magic protection circle. It's a 7th level spell personally created by the master of the tower. He spent the last 7 years studying how to break it. Master of the tower, that magic circle you're so proud of will be broken today. He'll destroy it himself and uses his hands to do it. We cut to another place. The others are outside, enjoying the festival while they're stuck guarding the power source. After all, they drew the short straw. That's why he's enduring the silence. If it were skill, obviously they'd have chosen him, but something's up, and he sees Verdan, arriving just in time to bring more liquor. But when will the master of the tower stop drinking this cheap crap? He asks if becoming master of the tower will be that easy. But if he becomes master of the tower, he'll buy the drinks. Our protagonist is listening to the conversation while holding the weapon in his hand. He'll remember that. He'll become master of the tower, no doubt. But after finishing the talk, his head is cut off. He doesn't know what's happening, doesn't know what he's doing. And our protagonist was the one who attacked him. He asks if he's crazy. A reaction he didn't expect at all. How dare a rat like him harm a mage? You should stop fixing that stupid brain first if you survive this spell, of course. He uses his rank 3 magic giant's roar and throws it at our protagonist. But seeing it's a rank 3 magic, he uses his earth spear, and many rocks shoot out to attack immediately. He can't believe those rocks and is hurt right away. He doesn't understand how he did that, how someone like him, a simple rank 1, can use magic, but why is he surprised that a mere test subject can cast it? That's what happens when you mess too much with people. Him and this tower alike, all will die. He eliminated them both. It's the first time he's seen him so close. It's the source of the magic tower's power. It took him 7 years to reach this point. Now, using the mana from the power source, he will challenge the heavens. If he fails, he doesn't know what will happen, but if he doesn't try, he'll never know. He's inside the magic circle. He immediately uses a body reform spell and begins to challenge the heavens. A light shoots out from the magic tower, illuminating the entire night sky. This immense magical power is the energy of the source, meaning someone has invaded their magic tower. The explosion is over. Our protagonist has emerged, but the staff dissolved. It was destructive enough to erase the whole area. And yet, the fact that he's still alive must mean he succeeded. At that moment, he sees someone coming toward him. Someone approaches. It's the master of the magic tower. He felt something happen to his tower. At that moment, he sees our protagonist and immediately launches an attack, but there's no one there. He doesn't know what's happening, but that's a teleportation magic circle. How dare he lay a hand on the magic tower, no matter who he is. Whether the emperor himself or just a kid, he'll find him and eliminate him. Just wait. Our protagonist is way too sleepy. He can't move an inch, just wants to stay like this forever. And the sound of water. He doesn't know what's happening or where he is. He was supposed to be here. Seeing his reflection in the river, he knows his appearance has changed. He doesn't understand why he looks like this. His brown hair turned ash-colored, and instead of black pupils, now he has clear blue eyes. He became a completely different person. Something happened while his body was rebuilt, but he thought it worked. So after meeting the people from the magic tower, he succeeded in challenging the heavens, and before the master of the magic tower could find him, he escaped quickly using teleportation magic. That's how he ended up by this river. He's never seen this forest before, nor any of these plants from the Bohemer magic tower, meaning he successfully teleported across half the continent. In other words, he successfully challenged the heavens to transform his body and escape using the magic circle he prepared beforehand. He's free. He wonders how the magic tower master feels right now. He's probably furious. Since the magic tower was destroyed, they have no way to find out who did it or that their lab rat escaped, but that's not enough to take down the magic tower. Even though they lost the manpower, he's sure the tower master has countermeasures. Besides, Valrock Bexius didn't get the nickname the Almighty for nothing. But this is enough for now. While the magic tower rebuilds, it will grow stronger for its revenge. It will destroy everything he built before his eyes, and in doing so, the Verdan mage will be remembered in history. He will take revenge and prove himself as a mage. That's his only purpose in life. He assumes this is goodbye to the magic tower for a while. We see a goblin who is destroying something, and our protagonist eliminates it with his windblade. He doesn't feel different. He assumes there was a problem when his body was rebuilt. Aside from his hair and eye color, his appearance is almost the same. Even his mana capacity hasn't changed. There's no way. He knows what happened so far, and that's problematic. Since goblins running around means he must have gone pretty far from the village. He sees some marks. Those are skid marks from a cart. They dropped something. Maybe they were in a hurry. He uses mana detection. He should find the owner of this box as soon as possible. Then the path appears and he finds them. The horses are running and very scared. They don't know what happened, how they ended up in this situation. In their memories, they found the remains of bandits supposedly wiped out recently while passing through the forest. That wasn't the problem, even failing to negotiate, saying these connections were from Baron Pite and all his mercenaries. Fleeing to escape death wasn't the problem either. But what the hell was up with those orcs and their creepy smiles? Thank God the orc was busy attacking those bandits. If they weren't busy, he wouldn't be alive right now. He hears that sound and thinks they're chasing him. He wants to run faster. But then he hits a branch and falls. His back hurts. But he has to wait a second, since many beasts are coming from deep in the forest. He can't believe he's going to die at the hands of these monsters. Immediately, the goblins rush to attack him, and he knows it's over. But at that moment, a wall of earth appears, and our protagonist traps them. He forgot to leave a hole to breathe. while the monsters head toward him, though he thinks he has to finish this faster before he suffocates. This is his first real battle. If you don't count the goblin before, this is perfect to test his skills, and he immediately launches a fire attack called asterisk asterisk. Multiple flame arrows asterisk asterisk, but the orc with that smile sends him to attack. He uses his flame arrows again, but in a whirlwind and with double casting. Asterisk asterisk heatwave arrows asterisk asterisk. The explosions grow bigger and the goblins have been wiped out. Even the orc himself is surprised. Before, he couldn't eliminate a single goblin, and now it seems none are left. He needs to get Mabu before he faints. He came all this way to save him, but it won't matter if he dies. But just as he's about to open the orc, it gets up, and he can't believe it's still alive. We cut to a while later, since Conrad will never forget what happened today. If it weren't for him, he never would have survived. But he just has to keep his eyes on the road. He's going to pass out again, and he understands. He almost forgot. He asked how the monster order appeared, if he was in danger or something. But this guy talks too much, though he assumes he's not dangerous, but he remembers there was still one alive. But at that moment, he used his wind slash and cut off its head. Nothing to worry about. He quickly asks if many thieves appear in this area. He heard they usually avoid places with many beasts, but it's not the first time passing through this forest. It's under Baron Peter's control. When he was a kid, they used to exchange letters because he had connections with him. They told him the thieves in the area had already been eliminated, so he took the usual route without expensive mercenaries. He assumes his luck just ran out today. He thought the teleportation failed, but if he's in Baron Pite's territory, it seems he arrived fine. Although he erased all traces and changed his appearance, it's possible the Bowhammer Magic Tower is looking for him. For now, he needs to hide his identity and become even stronger. This guy asks if he's really listening, but it seems he hasn't introduced himself yet. The moment he uses the name Verdan, he knows he can't, and says his name is Asher. It'll be when they face the Magic Tower leader. We cut tonight in Pite territory. At Baron's residence, he asks Conrad what happened, but he seems to have lost some weight. It must have been while fleeing the orcs. He feels bad, but they were just thieves and beasts. No need to worry since he's fine. That mage helped him. He can't stay still. If his friend's savior is right in front of him, they tell him to enter the castle. He thanks them with clothes, food, and a place to sleep. But welcome. It seems he still hasn't introduced himself. He is Baron Peichenrod, in charge of this territory. Please, he wants him to take a seat. He said his name was Asher, and the food is to his liking, and he says it's amazing. For saving Conrad, he prepared 5 million elk and wants to know when he'd like to receive it. Even if it seems rushed to ask, if it's okay, he'd like to hire him for a job. He'll make sure he gets good pay. To achieve his goal, he needs money, and this would also give him a chance to practice combat magic. Could he tell him what kind of job he had in mind? A few days ago, they found bodies hanging by the neck in the southern forest. According to investigations, they were all residents of a nearby farming village, and they found that village completely destroyed. At first, he didn't think about who was behind it. They discovered it was bandits. However, they searched the entire territory and found nothing. As if all traces were erased by magic, it's possible there's a mage among the bandits. Of course, this is just speculation. He wants to know when they plan to hunt them, and in 4 days they plan to go. We cut to 4 days later, where a knight arrives. He is Baron Pite's knight and commander of this plan. Enoch is the Black Knight Harris and the young Pirik. Nice to meet you. The pleasure is ours. Our protagonist already sensed this was a good opportunity yesterday. But who would have thought the job would be hunting bandits? He assumes that's how he'll pay for his stay with them. Those people are also part of the plan, but they're adventurers. It seems they gathered because of rumors about a strange orc that appeared recently. It seems the reward for killing it is good, even from a gold-rank adventurer. Gold-rank adventurers are on par with ordinary knights. In other words, they're veteran experts who use energy to strengthen themselves and their weapons. It's rumored those of that rank can even cut through mountains. Can't believe they still need him. Despite having 3 knights at his disposal, he tells Asher to please notify him. If there really is a mage among the bandits, he will handle it, but can he ask what they need? Normally, second-level mages have strength similar to ordinary knights, but if they start using long-range spells, it's much harder to close the distance, although the best case would be not having to face a mage. That would be unfortunate for them. But don't tell him there's a magic circle in front of them all, and he immediately orders it to be dispelled. There's an incredible explosion in front of them all. They don't know what it is, but it's a magic circle that just appeared suddenly. How can something like that exist in the territory? It seems the spell he just dispelled was camouflage, and this one is to alert the user. They must retreat because the shaman will handle it. And with one strike, he managed to destroy it. He can deactivate magic circles with such ease. Who the hell is this person? The scouts belong to a guild and accept missions all over the continent to explore unknown territories or repel monsters that threaten people. Death always lurks for adventurers, but people still admire them. Because with skill comes wealth and fame. However, when an adventurer becomes so strong after many near-death experiences that they can no longer control themselves, they point their sword at other humans, consumed by desire and forgetting their honor. In the end, they're nothing more than bandits. These guys are angry. They haven't even cleaned up the damage from the Pite assault group, and now they've been attacked by orcs and goblins out of nowhere. And to top it off, they have no food. What are they doing? They shouldn't just stand there. They need to go hunt something. They ask Lord Eno what they should do. They're waiting for orders, but since they let their guard down, they'll be attacked immediately. He wants the Lord to please wait. Yesterday, he said he was there as a countermeasure against mages, but they haven't assessed the enemy's strength yet. If the enemy has a higher circle than his, they could lose. But Lord Asher, if they start moving, he says nothing. He indicates there's a way after all the effort he made to expand the operation area. Even to the subordinate he recruited from his village last time, ended up dead. But Barja doesn't know what he's talking about or why he's complaining. He thought it was a counter-strategy, but who would have imagined an orc laughing, like a clown, would come to wipe out all his subordinates? He never imagined something like this would happen when he worked as a scout. If only they hadn't caught him killing another scout for money. By the way, Vilchin, what if they attack another village? But that's not going to work. The guy is furious about the bodies hanging from the trees. They've been hiding it with concealment magic, but it's time to move. I heard there's a city called Marte nearby. They're going to raid the village close to that place, but before they finish, an attack comes and then they explode. An explosion came out of nowhere, but with his barrier, he managed to protect himself. But it's not just an explosion, it's magic. They've been discovered and everyone's gone on the offensive. With that, they break his shield and Vilchin, the mage, has been injured. The mana barrier is a defensive skill, with a quick casting time, but it breaks easily because it's not very durable. And when the mana barrier breaks, it sends a big impact back to the caster. This guy is a mage, since he knows his own strength. He's going to take care of the mage as requested. He wants it done as fast as possible. The guy really wants to eliminate them this time. He even hired a mage. However, things won't go as planned when he launches his attack. Enox confronts him while our protagonist keeps fighting the mage. He thought about running, but he's being chased. Luckily, he's following with an earth wall. Only those from the third circle and above can use that type of flight. This guy is second circle and throws a multi-arrow ice attack at our protagonist. He's going to attack first. If he's only second circle, he'll take him out before he can do anything. But our protagonist uses multiple flame arrows and shoots back. The two attacks collide with a boom, leaving a huge crater. He can't believe it. Not bad for a second circle, but he picked the wrong guy to mess with. If he'd come with the knight, they'd be at a disadvantage. But he can handle him alone and escape without trouble. But he has no intention of letting him go since our protagonist is unharmed. He doesn't understand where that confidence and ability come from. Using composite attribute magic at such a young age, he hasn't seen such a promising talent in a long time. Although he probably didn't expect to get crushed today in this place. Using his third circle magic, Icefall, he plans to finish him off with that attack. But suddenly he sees it stop because his spell was blocked. Our protagonist used earth magic to stop the attack. He immediately clenches his fist, causing spikes to shoot out of the ground, and manages to knock him down. He can't believe it. How can a second circle mage use third circle magic? But he should have guessed, not only does he know third circle magic, but he also has 4 attributes. He's been fooling him from the start, and right away, he pierces through and takes him out. Good thing he's alive, because now he learned how to fight a mage. At that moment, we see an orc holding a chain. Remember, this chain was the one the adventurers said they had, 2 days before the expedition. He created an experimental medicine using ingredients he brought from the magic tower. He called it the Magic Circle Dilator. When he thinks about those hellish days he went through in the magic tower, he never wanted to try human experiments again. But thanks to that, he reached the 3rd level. Looks like he's dead. He needs to leave proof that the bandits were defeated if he wants to prove he completed the task and earn their trust. Then he sees the wand he was using. He inspects it. It's a magic stone wand with a spell applied. It reduces casting time and increases the effectiveness of ice attribute spells. It could be useful to him right now. Asher arrives and is glad he's okay. It's Earpiric, thank heavens. He was worried after seeing him finish off the bandits, and he apologizes, but the bandit was stronger than expected and it took some time to deal with him. Looking at the damage in the area, it's clear it wasn't an easy fight. He immediately asks if the bandits were taken care of. Yes, though their leader is still out there. But Sir Enoch is fighting him now. It should be resolved by the time they return. He wants to ask a question before going back, and of course, what should we do with the bandits' belongings? He said his lord told him that if something catches their eye, as long as it's not something they need, they can take it. He's the pike guy, and he feels good about it. He'll put that wand to good use. Everyone praises Asher's work. Without him, they would have suffered many casualties for nothing. It was actually a great experience for him. He can't believe Vilchin was killed. This is impossible. If this keeps up, they'll drag us before the Lord and execute us. He can't die in this village. He's desperate to see him. He has no choice but to escape. At that moment, he breaks free and attacks. He wants them out of the way. Without Vilchin's magic, they can't break their ranks. So he has only one option left: eliminate the knight, steal his horse, and get out of here. But right away, he's attacked. He's slammed to the ground. He can't believe what just happened. They have to hold him down and keep him from moving. How dare he throw his sword? He has no pride as a knight. What do you mean? Pride is something only a few can afford here in this place. Then he attacks and takes him out. He apologizes for showing such a shameful scene. If he had time, he would have cleanly cut his throat, but he doesn't always fight like that. But he worked impressively. He asks why they're letting them live. He heard some familiar faces were among the bandits. He thinks they might be survivors of the attack on the farming village. That's why they plan to take them to the castle and confirm their identities. Before deciding their fate, everyone must prepare to return to the castle and bring the captives. He wants them to get up and keep moving. One of them runs, not wanting to die there, but they're about to take care of him. Our protagonist tells him to wait a moment because something's wrong. He starts shouting for help, and then they sense something strange, the smell of blood. Something's coming at them, and he manages to block an attack. It's the head of the one who just ran. He doesn't know what's happening, but that orc can't believe it. Could it be possible that the adventurers couldn't defeat this thing? Can you even call this monster an orc? And it's not alone. He senses a couple dozen like this one. This thing must be the leader of those beasts. Without looking at the one he saw before, the corners of its mouth are long, making it look like it's smiling, and its incredible size makes it stand out among its kind. It must have evolved. He immediately orders them to attack, but everyone must take defensive positions. First, focus on the goblins, then deal with the orc. They start the battle, and Sir Enoch is about to be taken out, but at that moment, his swordsmen come to help, and the orc backs off. One of them manages to stab him and inflict a serious wound, but he just laughs. At that moment, he grabs a goblin and eats it, leaving everyone stunned. They can't believe it. Every time he devours one of them, he starts evolving. He just healed himself by eating one. Looks like they won't be returning home peacefully. After all, everyone must prepare to fight. The orc throws his sword, and he manages to stop it. He doesn't understand why he suddenly threw his sword, but at that moment, it breaks, and the fragments embed in his body, wounding him in front of everyone. But it was a distraction because he immediately lunges at Peric, but he's cut just then. Or so he thought, since the sword got stuck in his muscle and he can't pull it out. He's about to be taken out, but our protagonist uses a projectile pitch and manages to stab it in his face. He wants him to run. He survived thanks to Asher, but now, what are they going to do? He can't get his sword back. Our protagonist thinks his recovery speed and physical durability strengthened after eating that goblin. Before, it was just one hit with all his strength trying to cut off his arm. He's never heard of an orc this strong. He might be a special entity from legends. But he says that's not all. The regeneration and strengthening through consumption lets him command those below him and drive them mad. He has the strength to even overwhelm knights. He's definitely different from your average orc, but if that's all, then he's too weak to be called a special entity. There's a limit to normal magic. Even if you pour more mana, you can't expand beyond a fixed scale. And if you go beyond the limit, the magic itself extinguishes. That's a rule of magic. But there's a spell without that limit. Geographic manipulation. He starts casting it, and the ground begins to shake. First other expressions, now an earthquake. They can't believe it. But everyone must stay calm and hold their positions. This is Asher's magic. He told them, but how can anyone stay calm in this situation? Since he raised them above everyone's territory, stones start falling, and begin taking out several monsters as they rise. Our protagonist uses a third-level spell, Fireball, and starts attacking, burning them all. They can't believe it, they're burning. Peric wants him to keep his dignity, but watching them fly through the air is satisfying. Geographic manipulation, at third level, has no expansion limit, but not many mages use it as their main magic. That's because the extreme mana consumption isn't worth the power. If only he had enough mana, he hoped to create a force above third level, but it's below his expectations. At that moment, he hears a rumble. He's still alive and devouring all his allies. If he doesn't want to die burned, what should they do? But our protagonist immediately uses his water spell, Ola, and launches an attack. He uses his multiple ice arrow attack, Winter Burst. He's going to freeze him to death since he can't do anything. He uses his double shot, Bitter Cold arrow. Everyone starts freezing, but this orc still moves, even if he can regenerate without sensing or feeling pain. He can't handle this. He manages to dodge. If his body freezes, he won't be able to move. But he has a very strange look. He uses his Frozen Orb skill and succeeds. The conquest is complete. We're heading to the Magic City. The seer asks if he's seen the news, and of course, the Magic Tower is sealed. Now he's seen it all. He heard the magic tower's energy source exploded. He asks if he trusts that, but most of the remaining mages disappeared, and the magic tower's functions stopped. The scale of the damage is too big to consider the energy source explosion as the only cause. The public says it was divine punishment or a man-made disaster, but there are many theories. But someone must have conspired to seal the Bohemer magic tower, because there's no way the tower sealed itself. From what he heard, the magic tower was conducting secret experiments and was attacked by someone else. But at that moment, they grab him, and he doesn't know what's happening. It's the girl who wants to know what happened to the Bohemer magic tower, and we already know her. We move to another place where they're happy, celebrating the return of the subjugation squad after taking down the bandits. They returned to Paite territory, and Lord Paite organized a feast to celebrate. Everyone made a great effort. That there were no deaths is a miracle. Now that he thinks about it, he doesn't see young Asher. But at that moment, our protagonist arrives and asks if he's too late. But no, he's just in time. He wants him to have a glass of wine. By the way, he didn't think. He'd invite even the common soldiers to the feast, but they went out to protect the territory. What does status matter now? Speaking of which, the bandits he defeated were pretty strong for simple bandits, but they were very different from the bandits he knew. With that skill level, they didn't need to be bandits. He thinks there might have been another reason for them to do it. He's right, but this might help him understand. According to the investigation, they were originally wanted criminals, gold rank adventurers. 1 or 2 years ago, they killed a companion and fled. Their whereabouts were unknown, but it seems they formed a bandit gang and ended up here. Gold rank is the 4th highest among adventurer ranks, a status earned after many achievements. Now he understands, why did he have a 10 million elk bounty? Maybe that's why the boss was so happy. If the subjugation had happened without him, there could have been many casualties. But right now, they're looking at him with admiration. Not only did he face the bandits, he also took care of the half-humans instead of the fallen adventurers. When the guild found out, they sent their thanks. He's a benefactor of the territory. But to him, it's no big deal, though he's getting carried away. Either way, thanks to him, they were able to rescue the villagers who had been taken by the bandits. They also held funerals for those who died. They're toasting Asher, the mage who saved the Pate territory. Everyone's celebrating in his honor. The feast went on. It was very different from the atmosphere at the Magic Tower, a feast where everyone, regardless of status, enjoyed themselves united with one heart. Very different from the Magic Tower that had always treated her coldly. A girl approached her, saying this place is warm and genuine. It really felt nice, honestly. And for the first time since escaping the Magic Tower, she was able to laugh from the heart. Unaware of the great chaos that the collapse of Bohemer's Magic Tower would cause, we go with her friend. The Magic Tower is still intact. She knew the rumors were exaggerated and asks Lord Robinson what happened. But she heard the energy core was shattered and the whole area collapsed. She's glad it wasn't worse. By the way, the buildings can be restored quickly, but she wants to know where he is, right? But when asked where, she's told to check the missing persons list. Seeing it, she knows it can't be her friend, can't be there. He's missing. Number 31 Verdan. It's presumed he was caught in the energy core's magic while on support guard duty in the energy hall. They couldn't recover the body. She can't believe it. This was the last time she really saw him. Memories flood her and she starts crying. She can't take it. Doesn't want to say goodbye like this. He was a dear friend, like family, and she begins to release power. But at that moment, Valdic tells her to calm down. He doesn't know what happened to the Magic Tower, but what he sees is what happened during the Magic Festival. While the high mages were absent, the energy core went out of control. All the mages in the core, including the duty supervisor, were annihilated. But not only that, all the collected materials and research records were completely destroyed. Even the magic circle in the treasure chamber, damaged, suffering irreparable losses. The second route in the treasure chamber, along with all the grimoires and artifacts they had gathered, disappeared without a trace. It's an incalculable loss, but what he regrets most is losing experiment subject number 72. If only his brain had remained intact, they could have restored the lost records and achievements. But at least they can navigate, though the one responsible for the core's malfunction escaped. They found a lead. But she doesn't understand what it means. He explains that 3 hours before the core collapsed, someone disappeared without a trace. So they asked other magic towers for help and started tracking their whereabouts and past. As a result, when they found this a necklace, and that's the mark of the Black Hour. It's an organization that operates in the shadows of the world, not to study magic, but to use it as a tool to rule the world. But why would they do something like this? They don't know how they infiltrated the tower or how they made the energy core go out of control, but what they do know, what they're sure of, is that they're connected to all of this. To appease the souls of those who died, in vain, they're planning to form a Black Hour extermination unit. There's a spot reserved for her in it, but judging by her expression, she seems to have her answer already and immediately shatters that necklace. We move to another place. Someone's been waiting a long time. They ask, But this is a few days later at the High Territory Adventurers Guild. First, they want to apologize to young Asher for what happened. They assess the orc's danger level as high as possible and sent a gold rank adventurer, but never imagined something like this would happen. They ask if it was just a coincidence. They thank him for his understanding and give him the certificate for the bounty on this hunt. If you add the base mission cost plus the increase for the danger level, and the bonus for bringing back the corpse of a new orc species, it totals 24 million elk. But after taxes, the net payment is 12 million elk. Well, he might not know this, but experts outside the guild have to pay half the bounty in taxes. Even if they try to avoid it, it's established by imperial law. And if you don't pay, you could be accused of tax evasion or embezzlement. But there's a legal way to avoid all these taxes. He asks if she's implying he should become an adventurer. And yes, in their guild, the higher the rank, the less tax you pay. For Asher, being a special case, he'd start at silver rank. However, by becoming an adventurer, his actions will be subject to certain restrictions. He just has to sign this application. Right now, money isn't his priority. He wants them to leave it as is and finalize the calculation. He's going to get stronger to take revenge on everything that hurt him. Even though he lived as an experiment subject in Bohemmer's magic tower for 7 years, his essence is that of a mage. At the High Territory Adventurers Guild warehouse, a mage is always a researcher and scholar chasing mysteries. That's why he brought the corpse of the variant they hunted this time, to study it. He also has an artifact that preserves the corpse's condition, reserved, it seems, for a High Territory Adventurers Guild. This isn't anything extraordinary, but the preservation state isn't good. By the way, although it's surprising that it has red eyes and skin, what really impresses is its clawed jaw, and its enormous size compared to other specimens. However, these features are far from those of a warrior or lord orc, which are superior species. It also didn't seem to have notable intelligence. This doesn't look like evolution, but rather a variant or mutation. Still, something doesn't quite add up. No matter how much it's a mutation and regeneration through feeding, that overwhelming strength doesn't have enough basis to explain it. But then he sees a scar and is surprised. Regeneration is the ability to restore the body to its previous state. This orc has such strong regeneration that it can recover from torn limbs to burned body parts. But how come it couldn't heal a small wound that left a scar? This means the scar appeared before it developed this regenerative ability. It's a sign of amputation. So far, it's known that half-humans can only acquire abilities through evolution. So the most likely hypothesis is that someone artificially created this variant. It could be the worst hypothesis, if you want to see it that way. Upon leaving, it wasn't necessary for them to come all the way here to receive him, but he feels he's the savior of their lives, and it's the least they can do. Even though he's already received too much from them, they gave him a circulation ring, and a beast leather tunic that boosts the magical power and slightly increases the recovery speed of his power. He tells him he hopes he doesn't feel overwhelmed. It's recognition for helping them. He says goodbye for now. They shout that when he visits the comic shop in another city, he should mention their name since it can't hurt. Our protagonist says goodbye and sets his course for the Pate region and the border town of Martez. He deactivates his flight since he's arrived. This is the only town between the city and Baron's territory. If he rests here one night and goes to the city the next day, he'll fit right in. But then he hears someone say, "Who would have thought it'd end like this?" And all because of them. Seems like that info could be useful. He should listen to what's going on. He uses his wind whisper skill. Anyway, the goblins are the problem. Because of them, we lost everything we earned. We even had to spend a lot hiring adventurers. We said we could handle it ourselves. And if they get hurt, we won't get our money back. The village chief said exterminating goblins is the adventurer's job. By tomorrow morning, it'll be over. So they should stop complaining like money grows on trees. But goblins have also appeared in this area, and our protagonist thinks they're commoners. Goblins are a plague. They start with small thefts, and if they group up, they attack houses, steal things, and even eat people. That's why when a goblin is found, it's normal to call an adventurer. But it's nothing unusual. Although it's true, it's a rumor that James saw a monster in the forest. The village chief said no one should cut it down, but no one's listening. What they didn't know is that our protagonist overheard the whole conversation a couple of days ago. He went to the forest as usual to check the traps he'd set. Then he heard a boar's squeal, so he turned to check the trap, and to his surprise, a goblin bigger than an orc was eating the boar with a torn mouth. He can't believe what he saw, but he has to lower his voice. If the adventurers find out, they'll charge extra. But he quickly cancels that thought to listen. An enormous goblin with a torn mouth doesn't seem like something that can be ignored as a coincidence. We go to the forest where a girl is hunting goblins. She's improved a lot. She's a silver rank adventurer, Myrna. And there's a silver rank adventurer, Locke, who asks if she's not embarrassed to talk about her skill, shooting from so close. But they just laugh and start discussing. 2 more people arrive who found goblin tracks, a silver rank adventurer, Iris, and a silver rank adventurer, Milk. There's a cave that seems to be their lair. They're going to enter. There's a totem made of animal and human bones, a symbol of the hobgoblin, a superior species. As long as they're careful with the cave's structure, there won't be any danger. First, before entering, they'll destroy all alarm devices and the totem. Understood. He uses his enhanced perception and everyone feels confident. Suddenly, he can see clearly even in the dark. Now, with these tools, they can enter without torches, as expected from their leader, someone reliable. And so, at that moment they enter. He feels something and looks behind him, but immediately ignores it. He feels he detected some magic and they keep walking. They see something moving in the forest. Upon entering, there are goblins praying to skulls. He immediately shoots and nails one in the forehead. They charge the attack, eliminating those there. That went well. It'll be over soon, but he doesn't want to lower his guard since they're not done yet. At that moment, he hears a crash. It could be the big goblin and goes to investigate. He wants them to send signals if they find anything new, but upon entering, he sees a massacre. He wonders why Myrna stops, but she just heard something terrifying, and at that moment, they see something strange. It's a goblin way too big, they can't believe it. A giant goblin hunting its own kind? Is this some evolved creature or something? But the request didn't mention any of this. For now, they have to focus on killing it. It's big, but worth the try. I'll explain the plan. Myrna should shoot the goblin's right eye. 1,000 and Locke will buy time. She'll finish it off. She starts the attack and tries to follow the plan. She immediately attacks and wounds it. She tells 1,000 to raise his shield, and he rushes forward, dealing heavy damage. Now it's the other's turn, but at that moment, an attack comes at him. He uses his magic explosion, and the goblin starts to explode before it can hit him. It's in a lot of pain and quickly grabs one of the goblin bodies and throws it. He can't believe it. He wants the leader to dodge, but our protagonist uses his air ray and manages to eliminate that goblin by diverting its path. She was scared, and then another arrow comes and hits that goblin, killing it immediately. He wants to know if his sister is okay. He asks if she's hurt, but no, if she'd been hit by that flying goblin, she would have died. But apparently, the trajectory changed suddenly. The flyer would have died, but apparently the trajectory suddenly changed. Still, they completed the mission without anyone getting hurt. They're heading back to the city fast to claim their reward. Our protagonist knows it's good, nothing serious happened. It was good he could keep up with his invincibility. Thanks to that, he saw the test subject, the clown and Sarah here, after escaping the magic tower. He noticed that all the test subjects they had encountered so far shared the common trait of having mouths painted like clown makeup. Based on that trait, he started calling them clown humans. But this goblin is different from the other clowns compared to other races. He seemed relatively weak in terms of physical strength. He didn't seem to strengthen or regenerate his body through cannibalism either. He's not just a big goblin of great size or a failed experiment, but whatever the case, that mage. But anyway, just by looking at that mage, his situational analysis is fast and he seems very sensitive to magic. It wasn't a coincidence that he sensed her magic from outside the cave. In the end, there was no harvest, but at that moment, he felt something strange. Unwanted guests arrive while he wasn't there, but they don't seem to be adventurers and want them to identify themselves. He can't get too close, but will introduce himself later. He's the administrator of this mess they left behind. He was sure he had restricted their activity. But even Incentoad acted while he was gone. Because of that, they discovered this place. No matter how much you mess with his brain or suppress his instincts, it seems impossible. They noticed something unusual about that goblin, like behavior uncharacteristic for a goblin or something, but since there was no response, he assumes it was just an ordinary goblin. If the doctor finds out about this, he'll be completely furious, but what can be done? It's already happened. They should start dealing with what they can fix. Therefore, they have to die here. They don't know what's going on. He says, "You intend to handle everything alone," which is an obvious question. Because of you, that thing died. An ongoing experiment was interrupted. Even if the specimen hadn't died, there's no guarantee they wouldn't leak information from this place. But if they keep the secret, there won't be any need to fight, she explains. But what guarantee do they have to keep the secret? And even if they do, she has no intention of letting any of them leave alive, to be honest. She wants to hear the screams they'll make when she eliminates them now. "Who wants to die first?" she says, radiating an incredible aura, but the only one dying here is her. What a pathetic display of arrogance. But then she hears a voice from behind. "Who said that?" And immediately an attack comes. He said he wanted to hear their screams and asks, "Who wants to die first?" But it seems the pathetic display of arrogance is his, don't you think? And it's our protagonist, who has many spells and an imposing presence. He really didn't want to intervene, but if he hadn't, the group behind him would have been wiped out by this old man. By the way, that old man just called the goblin a test subject and even mentioned there's a doctor behind all this. It's related to the clown demi-humans. He wants to know who he is. But he doesn't think he's obligated to answer that and draws a magic circle. Even though he doesn't care, he doesn't have to reveal his identity. because he'll die by their hands anyway, and he launches an attack using the multi-flame arrow. Our protagonist attacks, but the goblin has considerable speed. He gets very close, but our protagonist defends himself with his shield. Seeing it breaking, he uses his magic wave and sends him flying. That speed was boosted by strengthening his legs with ki. The weight of his sword attacks is lighter than that of a Pite Knight, but his speed is far superior. He needs to change his fighting style. His magic casting speed is pretty fast. He's not sure what rank it is, but at this level, he'll have to speed up too. He wants to see if he can handle this and launches an attack using his double casting Infernal Blizzard. He can't believe he's using wind and ice attributes simultaneously. He uses his Icicle Explosion. It's incredible, but it's useless if he doesn't land his attacks. Since he's managed to dodge them all, everyone attacks our protagonist from behind, but he manages to dodge. A mage has dodged his attack. How did a mage react to that skill? He uses his Ignition skill, and it immediately explodes on him. He can't believe it. He lured him into close combat deliberately to counterattack. It's a pretty orthodox tactic for a mage, but unfortunately for him, this method won't work. But why? At that moment, he sees everyone there and sends him flying. He can't believe the ground is moving. How high will it take them? It has stopped. This is Earth Manipulation, a notorious spell for its inefficient mana consumption. Being used in real combat, if he casts too many large-scale spells, with double casting, he'll run out of mana fast. But he doesn't understand why he's talking about this fighting style. He's never seen this before. He says he's going to fight properly like a mage, but just escaped into the air. Does he really think he can do anything? But putting aside that he rose into the air, what's the point of going through all this trouble using magic? It consumes a lot of mana just to lift the adventurers. But then he sees that those ice fragments have melted from the earlier flames. Our protagonist immediately uses lightning and sends them against the water. This is lightning attribute magic. It's an elemental skill that only a few professors at the academy can use. It's third-rank thunder magic, and when it hits, it causes a lot of damage. He doesn't know who this stupid kid is. Not just fire, ice, or wind, but now he's even using high-level lightning magic. He uses triple casting and attacks him, with all the elements, basically creating an explosion. Our protagonist wants to ask him something. There's an orc similar to this one in the Pipe Barony. Everything is connected to that so-called doctor. No wonder they were calm on that front. He asks if he did all this, but wounded and laughing, he asks if by chance he lives in the Ark. The Ark? He says he's never heard of it. It's fine if you don't know, just eliminate him. Our protagonist wants answers. Where's the doctor? But why does he want to know? He explains he's interested in the experiments the doctor is conducting. Going to the doctor would be too dangerous. The place where the doctor is, but he says he'd rather die right now. And immediately he launches an attack from his mouth, but he had his barrier, so that was his response, and he clearly heard it. He uses earth fragmentation and eliminates him. He thought he finally found a trace of the clowns, but it ended up being a wasted effort. It doesn't matter. For now, the priority is to focus on what he has to do. So from this moment on, they all have to follow his instructions. They have arrived. He received an additional reward from the village chief. When he threatened to report the omitted information about the mutant goblin, he paid an extra 1.2 million elks to keep him quiet. And it went well. They ended there, and they leave. But he wants him to please accept that money. It's a commission in the city of Martez. He wants him to guide them from this village to Martez. After the cave incident, he headed to Martez with Iris's group along the way. The group leader, Iris, kept asking him about magic, specifically about elemental magic theory. He didn't dislike the conversation, so he talked with her, and before they knew it, they had arrived in Martez. A city this size probably has a bank, so since they have several reports to submit, they'll go to the Adventurers Guild. Their leader will guide him through Martez. They ask where he wants to go, but he says he wants to start by collecting the reward and opening a bank account. So they head to City Hall. She wants him to follow her. She knows Martez like the back of her hand. Everyone is surprised since the leader doesn't seem worried at all. She's the one who eliminated the man they found in the cave without hesitation in an instant. First of all, the hunting reward is handled through City Hall. They almost got into trouble because he didn't have time to create an ID after changing bodies. Fortunately, thanks to the guarantee from the Pipe Barony, he was allowed in. And just with that, knowing he had a letter of recommendation from the Pipe Barony, he was received very kindly. Before leaving the territory, they showed him great kindness. Please accept this as a token of gratitude for saving Pite. They told him their family lives in the Pite territory and thanked him for defeating the bandits. Unexpectedly, they also gave him an ID card. Thanks to that, he was able to open a bank account, so things went very well. He still has the account he used in Verente, but if he uses that, the Tower Master could track him to this place, so he can't be careless. Our protagonist went to a blacksmith because he wants to make a staff with this, but for that, he'll need materials and some time to make it. They want him to come back in 3 days. Meanwhile, they want him to use this. She doesn't understand if he prefers staffs over wands. but he's gotten used to using it from sweeping a lot with brooms. It's a hobby because she doesn't understand what he's talking about. She takes him to the Martez Public Library. They should have books on enchanted magic here. They should, but not at the level the mage needs. But it's okay. The basics are enough. He wants to know which ones he needs. But everyone in the Martez Public Library is in the reading room. But he can't just take them all since she looked for them. She wants him to please charge the rental fees to this account and send it to the top floor of the Lorix Hotel. She wants to know how many of those books to send, and he wants all of them. It's their bestseller to date. Our protagonist received his rewards, opened a bank account, hired staff, and borrowed all the books on enchantments. She was very tired. Who is this man? He really took her everywhere she wanted to go today. And yes, that's enough for today. But now that she thinks about it, she never asked his name or how she should call him. He tells her his name is Asher, but she can call him whatever's easiest. He wants her to speak casually, and she quickly feels comfortable. Now it's time to ask him something she's dying to know. Not to interrogate him or anything, but why was he in that cave? Our protagonist doesn't know what to say. He can't exactly say he saved him by chance. It would sound weird to say he was just there, so he needs a vague excuse. So he also speaks naturally and says he was chasing that man. She's surprised. Now that she thinks about it, he asks about the professor in the cave. Don't tell me you're some kind of secret agent, chasing a secret organization. But in the end, he hasn't gotten much out of it. But today has been more than enough, so she can go back now. He'll accompany her since he's new here, but she says there's no need to bother. When night falls, she says goodbye and see you tomorrow. Finally, it's over. She really is a strange man. She sits down, tired. He has a magic level so high he can handle all elemental attributes with a mana amount she can't even measure in depth. Not only that, but despite his young age, he has better theoretical mastery than most academy professors, and he even teaches very well. On top of that, with such an attractive face, he must be very popular. But when she talks to him, he's extremely stiff. It's almost like talking to a scarecrow. Or maybe she's just taking advantage of his looks, but she doesn't know why she thinks so much. Because she can't stop thinking about his face even so. Of all the mages she's met since graduating from the academy and becoming an adventurer, he's definitely the most skilled. It's not easy to find someone with that kind of talent. Tomorrow she'll ask him more about elemental magic. And at that moment, she hears an explosion behind her. She doesn't know what's happening. But that's the Lorix Hotel. That's where our protagonist was staying. There's a human-shaped silhouette floating in the air, and she immediately sees our protagonist, who did that. But first, let's go somewhere else where it's indicated that Sergen is dead, who killed him. But there were traces of offensive magic used inside the cave, so he was killed by someone else. And he hits him. That shouldn't be done. The fool asked who eliminated Sergen, but they haven't confirmed the culprit yet. But they found evidence of a group that accepted a request from a village. It's an exception. Sergen was useful. So the test subject is also dead, and yes, both the remains and any trace of Sergen and the test subject have been completely erased. The goblin in charge of eliminating Sergen should have been eliminated too. He's useless. A piece of trash. The two test subjects from the Pipe Barony are silent, and now the goblin Sergen is also eliminated. The experiment is almost complete. Could it be that those idiots from Alarka, they may have already found out, but don't come back until I've killed the one responsible. Understood. He's a stubborn old man. He'll have to bring back the culprit's head, no matter what. We return to when our protagonist was entering his room. It's basic enchantment, magic cat ears. That's how it's done since he's back and has been wandering all day. His magic detection is really ineffective. Once he lies down, he can erase it. But he doesn't understand why it's so quiet right now. He launches an earthbone attack and doesn't know what's happening, but our protagonist has started attacking him. He detected him despite being in stealth mode. That's why the explosion happened. That's why our protagonist is about to shoot straight through the air. But he blended in with the crowd and used explosive magic in such a confined space. He's at least a third-level mage and is retreating for now. He immediately shouts that a terrifying mage just launched an attack. Terrorist. Everyone starts running after waiting. They need to inform the guards immediately. It's an assassin who didn't even activate his magic detection. But he got impatient and made a mistake by completely erasing his presence. His existence became even more obvious, like a black hole on a blank page. Our protagonist attacks him and can't believe it. He completely erased his presence. How did he detect him here in person? The Ark sent him. I'd never heard of a monster like that. And it doesn't matter if there are civilians around. He keeps casting spells. This guy's a lunatic. Our protagonist uses his arrow and keeps attacking. He chases after him and enters a building to avoid his attack. Our protagonist arrives, and out of all places, he chose a building with a group of vagabonds. He immediately asks why he broke into that place. But he feels it. He wants to know where the man who just entered went. But if he wants information, he has to pay for it. There's no obvious escape route, and he has to stay inside. At that moment, he kills one and lunges to take out our protagonist. He attacked the vagabond directly. What a coward, and that made him even angrier. He uses a shockwave and tries to stop him with his sword. Usually, the mages can't attack and defend at the same time. If that's the case, he'll lure him into using his magic barrier, then detonate a smoke bomb and escape. He immediately attacks our protagonist, wanting him to cast his barrier. But he quickly uses his magic focus spell, concentrating his mana at the tip of his staff. He's no slouch in close combat either. You can't call him just a mage warrior. And right away, our protagonist lands a solid hit, injuring him. He uses his earth spear and while flying, throws a smoke bomb. But our protagonist immediately uses his whirlwind and realizes he escaped, but he doesn't want him to get away. He's stopped by the fire and the acts of terrorism in the city, and he doesn't know what to do. Let's move somewhere else to summarize. The report you just heard says Asher committed an act of terrorism. It's the Tuesday Accord. Henry Dacre says no. Mage Asher seems to be the victim. After returning to his lodging, there was an assassination attempt and a disturbance occurred. During a recent confrontation with the assassin, there was an attempt on an adventurer affiliated with his guild. This seems related, which is why he requested to oversee the investigation. He himself is the master of the Tuesday Adventurers Guild, Oscar. So, Asher got caught up in this right after arriving in Tuesday. He must feel he was treated fairly. He wants to know the damage status. But it's only partial destruction of the inn's upper floor, where he stayed yesterday, and the death of a wanted criminal in the slums. The assassin is still being sought. Besides the terrorist incident, there was testimony from an adventurer who defended Asher, claiming they found a mutant goblin, an unknown in a cave they visited for a subjugation mission. But when they checked the place, there were no goblin or attacker corpses. Not even a tiny insect, no corpses. No monsters, not even a single bug. That means, including this recent assassination attempt, there's a group targeting adventurers, and more incidents like this are likely. He asks if there are any other problems. It's already spread across the city that Asher is the terrorist, so adventurers and soldiers refuse to act as escorts. This is pretty problematic, but he'll talk to his knights about it to see what they can do. The next day, in the Tuesday Town Hall reception room, he knows the staff transformation is fully complete. The weapon is ready too, so he should hurry to locate him. At that moment, someone enters. It must be Mr. Asher. This person is Jason, the vice commander of the Tuesday Knights. He'll be his escort until his safety is guaranteed. He asks if he has any questions. But this is the crazy mage, an escort? That means he hasn't been cleared of all charges, ridiculously young and third rank. So he asks if he can leave now, as long as he agrees to travel with him. Yes, since it's a shame, but he has no other choice. He wants to walk and asks where they're going. But half a day later, he can't believe where they're headed. He was told he could move freely, as long as he was accompanied by him, but still, they've been walking for hours since leaving the town hall. How much walking is this? But finally, they arrive. This is the place he wanted to go. But it's just a normal house. They walked all day to get here. Why did they come? But right away, our protagonist casts a spell and blows it up. Yeah, he's crazy. He just blew up a house with magic. He came here looking for something. The assassin who tried to kill him yesterday. He says there's an assassin in a place like this, and there is. While fighting the assassin yesterday, he touched his body and cast a spell. One he learned recently to connect the target's body to a mana flow. Basically a tracking spell. The fact that it was dispelled means the assassin didn't notice his magic. Still, it's a very dangerous spell. But at that moment, he realizes there's a tunnel. He uses his tracking to lead him there. Judging by the direction and scale, it seems to connect outside the city. He asks if he knows that tunnel, but not at all. He's trained enough to be familiar with all the frayed tunnels in Tuesday, but this isn't the entrance to this district's tunnel. It's an unauthorized tunnel unknown to the authorities, connected outside the city. That means this is basically a huge security breach in Tuesday. He draws his sword. They need to seal it immediately, but he has to wait. Before that, they have to locate the assassin. So at least they should call for night reinforcements. But if they do that, they'll lose the target. The right move is to chase him immediately, and he jumps in. He knows he not only called him vice commander before, but now he's seriously disrespecting him. All mages are unbearable. We see this guy, who keeps following him through the tunnels. He's wasted too much time. After escaping the mage, he had to heal his wounds. Then he stayed there too long, trying to erase any trace that could lead to this place. At this rate, the doctor will try to eliminate him. He thinks he should run, but don't even think about it. There's no escaping Gula's grasp. He can only hope the doctor shows mercy. He's arrived. Look who it is, the local celebrity of Tuesday. He thought he should check if he was dead, but it turns out he's causing a big scene. He made such a fuss that now both the mayor and the Adventurers Guild know about it. He went all over town announcing his assassination attempt on Pois's someone. They want him to explain clearly and strongly. He says right after receiving the order, he went to Tuesday, checked travel records, then identified his residence. So he set up an ambush, but somehow his magic was detected in his presence and he used large-scale magic, which made things worse. He hid, entered the crowd, and escaped, but the mage kept chasing him. He barely lost him with his smoke bomb. He's saying he really lost him with his smoke bomb? Does he really believe that? It just so happened that while he was fleeing, the knight's order showed up, and maybe that's why. But a mage who flew off a building and cast magic in broad daylight surrendered just because of a smoke bomb? He can't believe it. But wait, he wants him to take off his armor and burn it immediately. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he said to burn it right then. When he does, magic symbols appear. He knows what happened. He cast a spell at that moment. His location was compromised, and he knows they're in trouble and will leave immediately. He wants him to take the specimen. He wants him to erase all traces of this place and seal the entrance, but as he does, an explosion hits the place. That's why the trail suddenly reappeared. He just realized it, but unfortunately for him, it's already too late. He wants to see the build and fighting stance of the guy ahead. It must be the assassin who attacked him, which means the one behind must be the doctor. So you're that crazy mage, he says. The Ark sent a really weird guy, just like in the cave before. He keeps mentioning the Ark. We should subdue him first, and then get information. He uses his earth spear, but the assassin immediately jumps in between. What an idiot. He ruined it, but he apologizes. There's no other choice. He has to move the plan forward. He must take responsibility and entertain him, but where does he think he's going? He uses his mana arrow? No. He doesn't want him to escape that easily. Sorry, but he was ordered to buy time and protect him. Our protagonist realizes that his mana arrow, weakened, can be blocked. If he powers it up, he could eliminate him before getting answers. Now what? He doesn't know what to do, but the knight jumps in between. He'll take care of him. He must follow the other one. Our protagonist leaves immediately without saying thanks. He wants to know where he went. He can't have gone far from here. But he knows there's a smell, the stench of a rotting corpse. He didn't expect to stop him, but didn't think he'd catch up so fast either. Still, he's glad he came. He was eager to show him his masterpiece. He wants to know what he thinks. What does he think of his creations? The same clowns he saw before made a few more. But how is he calling them clowns? Is he mocking him? They're a new possibility, devolved in their own way, of course. Those here are just failures who couldn't fully realize their ideals, but they can still stop an intruder. So please, take your time, enjoy, and destroy that crazy mage. It'll take all night if you take them out one by one. So he uses a double conjuration thunder halo, and they all start getting eliminated. He can't believe it. He's insane. He was also hit by the attack. This idiot doesn't match the reports at all. He was supposed to be just a 3rd level mage, but with that level of spell control, he's at least near the top of the 4th level. It's incredible. I've spent decades on this research, and it's finally about to be completed. If this keeps up, it'll all have been for nothing. I can't let that happen. He opens a portal, his masterpiece time to awaken. Our protagonist says, so this is where you've been running to. What are you doing? There should still be some traces outside, but obviously, you burned everything to the ground. Even if they're failures, they're not the kind a lone mage can handle. This confirms it. That guy's skill is definitely 4th level, but what's that you have beside you? He says that's the work of his life, his son, the embodiment of Gula's ideology. Consumption as the basis of life and evolution through it. This is the boy. He's the future of humanity. Our protagonist knows he's in trouble and immediately tries to attack him. But it's too late. He pressed the buttons before he could cut off his hand, and the consumption of evolution and the ideal future has been unleashed. This specimen has finally awakened. Now he understands what the crazy mage was trying to do. That mana is all yours. From now on, it'll become food for his son. And he's hungry. He can't believe what he's capable of. He can talk, and he starts radiating great power. He looks delicious. He wants to eat him. That thing just used energy to enhance its body, a power only gained through years of training, something even humans can't achieve. Having an artificial being use it so easily is problematic, and it points precisely to the blind spots and chains its attacks non-stop with a skill. Like this one definitely deserves to be called a masterpiece. As a research partner, he finds it fascinating. However, at the moment it comes to attack, he hits it with a staff and sends it crashing into the wall. This thing is no match for him. Our protagonist has a particular habit. During the 7 years he spent as a test subject in Bohemmer's magic tower. He suppressed his explosive anger to survive, and after the experiments ended and he returned to his room, he used that suppressed emotion as fuel to complete the challenging theory of the heavens. Maybe that's why he has this strength and determination. The more he raged and the angrier he got, the clearer his mind became, and cold logic took over his consciousness. The doctor's masterpiece, or rather, the convenient person, has physical abilities on par with the berserker orcs of Paide and his generation as well, but his elasticity, flexibility, and speed are more abnormal. But that's all there is. That's all he's got. He attacks and manages to dodge, but with his earth spear, he slams him down. That fake is an idiot. He uses his mana arrow and comes with many attacks. Compared to a trained knight, He lacks finesse and can't even distinguish basic moves. This creature just wields brute strength. It's a beast wearing a human mask and starts piercing through him. He's too weak to be called a masterpiece and can't believe it. How is this possible? His masterpiece is being defeated. The thing he gave his life to create, a being that absorbs the traits of everything it consumes, constantly evolving and growing stronger. It should truly be a new human. However, that new human is being defeated so one-sidedly right now. He didn't expect that kid just awakened, still hungry and unable to use his full strength. If he could get one more chance, feed him with his severed arm to restore his strength, then he could eliminate that mage and escape this place to play in the facilities. Our protagonist tells him everything done so far must be recorded. Where are the experiment records? He called him his son. If he doesn't hand over the experiment records, he'll kill his son immediately. He says it's fine since this is an opportunity. As he's also a mage, maybe if he reads his research records, he'll spare his life if it's him. He assumes it's no big deal to show him these records. It's the value of that supreme research. He starts reading it, thinking he probably won't need this. He doesn't understand what it says, but biologically, yes. It's top-tier research, ethically flawed, but on par with the Bohemer Tower's level. So why? Because it simply doesn't fit him, and he's going to eliminate him. But this Tuesday's terrorist plan could be worth a lot of money in the end. He can't believe he's going to eliminate him and the new human that easily. But if he tells him they're the Ark and Gluttony, maybe he'll reconsider. To eliminate him, he wanted to extract the information, but Jason is heading there. If he doesn't want loose ends, it's better to finish this here. So, goodbye. He wants to give him a chance. There's still something else, but he uses his ignition and starts burning him. He asks Air if he's okay, but it seems he's fine too. He took care of the assassin, he asks. And yes, he gave him a good beating. He just imagines what state he's in. When the vice captain personally handed him over to play for his vague talk, he probably escaped, but at that moment he sees a map, play for the terrain. It seems close to Tuesday. By the way, what's burning? He asks, but he keeps looking at that red mark there and has a headache. A sudden pain and fatigue hit him. It's due to this mana exhaustion. He abused his mana all at once. He'll think about it later and for now must return. A few days have passed since the doctor was eliminated after the terrorism suspicion. Tuesday seemed to have regained peace, but when the mayor saw the doctor's terrorist plan and the underground passage, he got furious. Shortly after, the Mars Knights were put on high alert. In the end, they reinforced anti-terror security, and the underground passage was searched and sealed, but that's no longer his concern. What worries him now is the administration of mana circuit boosters. Thanks to pushing the booster to his body's limit, he condensed years of growth a normal mage would need into just a few weeks. It's time to move to the next stage. Reach the 3rd rank in the elemental magic system. Are we really moving somewhere else? So the doctor is dead. He wondered when he could deal with him. One less nuisance, he supposes. He said the one who killed the doctor was that mage named Asher. He'll have to see for himself. We're heading to the Mars Knights Order training ground. Our protagonist is training at the location marked by the doctor to go straight to the point. It was an old, abandoned lab hidden on the edge of Mars territory. In the forest, under the biggest, deepest tree, the entrance was hidden and could only be opened by unlocking a mechanism inside. There were only rats and insects. No other living creatures were found. What he did find was a fang-shaped emblem mentioned in the doctor's diary in the Manhattan leather, known for its high physical resistance. In the end, he found no information about the Ark or the organization called Gluttony. Everyone sees him and thinks he's crazy. Someone talks to him, but he's still lost in thought. Still, he obtained the valuable Manhattan leather and avoided a disaster in Mars, so he can't complain. He tells the Psy-Reacher that here it is. The mayor is looking for him. Talking to him, he owes a great debt, but to him, it's nothing. Thanks to the terrorist plan he uncovered, they captured the last remnants in the city, although they were all completely crazy and blinded by Dr. Z's money, so they had no useful information. Also, Asher, although he achieved a great feat, asks for compensation to keep it secret. He understands if the terrorist plan became public, citizens would panic. And reputation is important. He's not an adventurer or mercenary. If he wants to make money and gain experience, he must raise the value of his name. If he becomes known as the mage who saved the city, opportunity, like the Paint Territory case, will only increase. Still, the reason he agreed to keep this secret is that this is the city vault, holding valuable goods acquired by the city or confiscated from criminals, a warehouse of magical items. He can take one item from there, whichever he wants. He might get something even more valuable than the reward for this incident. From swords finely forged in mithril to quality gear and magical tools, he should take his time and choose what catches his eye the most. There will be countless chances to build a reputation, but chances to get rare magical items are few and valuable. He asks if he can appraise it. He's not even an appraiser. Can he do that? It's surprising, but yes, he can do it confidently. He has a sprout staff that increases casting speed and reduces mana cost for earth spells. Not bad, but he has something better, the magic cloak. Cut resistance and fire resistance. There's also a regeneration ring. Heals wounds and restores health. He doesn't know what to do, but at that moment, something catches his attention. He wants to know what this ring is. It doesn't respond to appraisal, so it probably isn't a magical item, but there's no rush to decide. He still has time to choose what he really needs, so he's going to think about it, but maybe he should decide soon. He thought it would be quick, but he's very meticulous. He'll take that, a protection necklace. He tells him that's good, but the mana cost must be higher than manually casting a barrier. It'll be fine, but he says no problem. Leaving it at that feels stingy, so he says he'll also give him that ring he was looking at before. He wants to gift it to him. He said he could only take one thing. He asks if he's sure, but he's the hero of Mars. Giving him one more item isn't a big deal for him. He asks if he'll stay in Mars, but he won't for long. There's something he urgently needs. If he needs anything, he just has to ask. We're going to the Byron Territory mine. Someone's mining there and finds a skull. He wants to know what it's like the first time you find a skeleton when digging, but it's not that. There's something strange. Even solid rock breaks with good hits, but this is like something kept it intact. But it's already broken, and he kicks it. Now they have to grab their picks and get back to work. They want to finish to go home, but behind him, he says there's something strange. And that skull has started transforming. The other skeleton remains have completed the body and are undead. Everyone must evacuate the mine, but they start getting killed by those skeletons. Rumors spread that the dead appeared in the Byron Territory mine. With the appearance of an immortal entity, Byron went into a state of emergency. As survivor testimonies circulated in the tunnels, the territory slowly fell into fear. Meanwhile, Byron's tragedy began spreading by word of mouth and an urgent message reached Mars. Since when have those two gotten along so well? And for the news to reach Verdan, our protagonist keeps training the girl with some spells, and all this happened in a month. It's been a month since the doctor's defeat. During that time, he learned Iris's enchantment magic. Strength, reinforcement, reaction speed increase, perception improvement, barrier enchantment, mana focus, and he's reached a level where he can fully apply it in real combat. Surprising her, a mage defeated an orc with bare hands in just 13 seconds. What can't this person do now? His physique has changed, but his training really paid off, and she thanks him. But he's incredible. She's sure she could have learned it on her own, but all the books burned and she was in trouble. So his help was useful. Without it, she couldn't have learned these enchantments, and most would brag, but with so much skill. He's humble and also handsome. How can someone be so perfect? Someone like that has to be attractive. So why doesn't he show interest in romance? She's probably thinking he's gay or something, but that's not true and she didn't mean that. They leave immediately. She wants him to keep those thoughts to himself, but upon arriving at the city, they greet Asher. He's the master of the Mars Adventurers Guild and has a request for him. Oscar, the master of the Mars Adventurers Guild, was the one who supervised the investigation when he was falsely accused. For someone like that to urgently come looking for him means it's serious. He explains that an army of undead appeared in the neighboring Byron Territory mines. Their numbers were overwhelming, and support was needed due to rumors that the undead caused diseases and curses on contact. Not a single adventurer volunteered for the mission. So upon hearing rumors he stopped a terrorist attack, he went to find him. Normally, he would have refused, but he spent a lot on recent loot, so he accepted, hoping this new job would boost his reputation. People say he's the crazy mage. They've heard a lot about him, but strange rumors are spreading. But that's no news to him. He actually already knew. Still, he didn't expect his whole group to come. The undead don't scare Iris, but of course not. Those stupid rumors about curses don't affect Academy graduates. Besides, this time they're like backup support. It's a good chance to earn merit without fighting, but they're nervous. He hopes it turns out to be a good opportunity, like he said. A day after the expedition, he's been using flight since yesterday. He asks if his mana is okay, and yes, though he seems to keep some distance from them. He also asks Iris what her relationship is. She seems very close to him, but superior junior, he supposes. His group was in danger on a past mission and he showed up to save them. That's when their relationship started. Meanwhile, our protagonist is still in the sky. He asks if they're Academy alumni, but not exactly. There's a very small difference, but then our protagonist interrupts them. He detects some undead ahead. It looks like they're chasing Byron citizens. He's going to move ahead and provide support. They're still a bit far from the origin zone, but there are many of them. Still, it's a great opportunity. He spent the last month training enchantments, and this is one of the treasures he stole from the Magic Tower, a grimoire. Usable only by those who reach intermediate rank 3. Just opening it boosts the user's magic. It's a dream artifact for any mage. Only the Artisan Tower can make them because of the cost. There are very few of them. Most are linked to other people, losing their effect completely. but his is a new, unused elemental grimoire. He's written a continuous high-level binding circle, and this is the first real test in combat of what he linked. He uses his terrain manipulation skill, a perfect chance to test its power. There are many earth explosions, and people don't know what they are. But our protagonist, pulling a hand from the ground, destroying all those corpses, uses air rail, flame, and a double conjuration to cause an immediate explosion. All the bones start to decalcify. He's been flying since yesterday. He still has mana to cast spells of this magnitude. Our protagonist lands. The spells he recorded in the grimoire are earth element, the huge mana reserve of his inverted body, and the prody terrain manipulation enhanced by the grimoire. It's exactly how it should be. The time he invested was worth it. At this level, he hasn't reached rank 4 yet. There's no way this is just a rank 3 mage's power. At that moment, a skeleton attacks her. But someone saves her and wants to know what's going on here. Where's all the prey? It's a giant with platinum armor and an axe. No way. No way. This guy, he asked where his prey was. It's the butcher. Galiac doesn't know what to do. If he talks about the undead, they're all dead. Not just a few, but all of them. Even far from the source, they called it a horde of undead. There must have been at least dozens, and all were eliminated without injuries. It was his work. He sees our protagonist and approaches, asking if it was him. And if it was, what's the deal? But he was there on a commission. These undead were the prey he was hunting, and he stole them. Watch out for anyone who messes with someone else's plate, and he immediately releases an intense aura. He must pay the price. But the price makes him curious to know what it is. This guy quickly steps back. He chose his distance as if assuming a magical combat stance. He can't believe he's seriously thinking about fighting him. Interesting. It's crazy. They can't fight the butcher. He knows this is dangerous. Dangerous doesn't even cover it, Galiac. The butcher is infamous. Not only is he incredibly strong, but he's brutally violent. A few years ago, he got drunk and mutilated a companion who tried to stop him. He can't believe what he's hearing. The guild hasn't punished him, and that's how it is. Unfortunately, they need Galiac's strength. Applying the same rules to someone with platinum rank power like Galiat just doesn't make sense. This is the group's mage, Galiat Court. The guild knows it perfectly. Surgur wants it to be enough to talk and stop this. If his fate is also Byron's, this could cause problems later. She's the group's scout, Galiat Narian, but it's better not to escalate this here. She tells Galia to calm down. It's likely they also received a mission related to Byron. If they fight here, it could cause serious problems. It's better to show the level difference and let it go. He could have wiped them all out and said it was an undead attack, but that guy over there looks pretty confident. He's going to show him his place and immediately unleashes his magic. That's mana pressure. Looks like at least 3rd rank level. Although the name sounds impressive, it's basically a pure mana blast. So that's how it's used in real combat. In that case, he makes him kneel. He can't believe how he broke the mana pressure and knocked out Gord Gore. He's a pretty decent mage. Even among his peers, this guy is stronger than he looks. He wants to know his name, and he immediately reveals it's Asher. They'll meet in Byron very soon. The showdown that the Galia group ended more peacefully than expected, as they also escorted survivors. The Tuesday team arrived late to Byron's territory after clashing with a platinum rank. Since Galia earned some cold stares from the others, the next day, they thanked him for answering their call. He's the Lord of Byrot, Parnit von Byron. Now they're heading to the mines and Byron's garrison at the Church of Ruis, so no lives are lost in this battle. Since the platinum rank adventurer group from Galiat's team is also going, so they're leaving with the Tuesday response team. The two look at each other, and he tells him not to be afraid. He says he shouldn't fight him, but he won't unless he starts another fight. More importantly, they need to stay focused. We go to the battle where everything has already started. Everyone's fighting the undead. They're tough, and they need to aim for the head. Hitting soft spots doesn't work. They just regenerate. Clerics and mages need to support. From the rear, other monsters appear, a blood golem. They must retreat or be crushed. Common weapons don't work on this monster, so Galiat steps up. Perfect to warm up this blood golem, and immediately starts battling it. After many hits, he manages to rip its head off. They're surprised. It's Galiat the Butcher. He crushed a blood golem instantly. But what is he doing now? He grabs the head and throws it. That crazy guy, he threw that directly at our protagonist, and to him, it's rude. He wants him to show his skills. Yesterday was just showboating. But he immediately feels something in the ground. It's our protagonist's terrain manipulation. He quickly uses his fireball and starts burning him. He doesn't know what Asher is doing. Casting large-scale magic one after another, this can't be. But he's got a nice beard and the temper of 1,000 demons. That's why Asher likes him, but we'll see who's stronger. But it's a shame he didn't give him more. Whoever kills more undead wins. And the two start smashing everything in their path. With Galia's provocation as the starting signal, they began crushing the undead like they were competing. As a result, the assault squad reached Byron Mine, was with fewer casualties than expected. With the mine, like mine, space was limited. Not the whole force could enter. So a select group was linked to advance. He fought pretty well back there, Gallia predicts. But don't act like they're friends. It feels really rude. But Gallia likes that guy and remembers what he did to him, how he was knocked out. He's sure the magic pressure worked that time, but that guy overloaded his mana and crushed him instantly with just his magic. They say he's a third level like him, but he definitely hides something more. This guy is really annoying. They keep talking. Byron's garrison will wait at the entrance then. Good luck to them since the best group is going in. Leading the advance is the scout of Galliat's group, Nerian. Upon entering, an undead appears, and she's truly worthy of a gold rank adventurer. She detects danger instantly and eliminates the ambushing undead with a single blow, cleanly and efficiently. And not just her, the whole team fulfills their roles well. This is the strength of good group coordination. But still, she has a bad feeling and senses a strange presence. She says, "Stop, looks like this is the end of the mine." She'd like to scan the area with magic just in case, but if there's a lynx, they risk being tracked. Instead, she asks Asher if something's wrong, but he's also felt that attention and that smell of death. He doesn't know exactly where, but there's a powerful undead nearby. It was for fun, and now he has another reason to get excited. She's scared, but as much as it annoys her to admit it, the butcher is right. When the battle starts, she should stay close to him. If he says so, how strong could he be? But she still doesn't know. Light filters at the end of the tunnel. There's something else. She asks what's with all the commotion, but he says that while searching for other paths, they found a light coming from the back of this passage. But he says the only entrance to this mine should be where they came in, but it's a light in an underground tunnel. He doesn't know what's going on there, and Galliat orders to stop. It looks like a tomb. At that moment, they see the symbol. It's the shield of the Kingdom of Estria, currently Verdan Opera. Outside the magic tower, Adabomir, under a hidden identity. In the land of the Principality of Livian, the Principality declared independence from the Kingdom of Estria, so finding Estrian traces here isn't entirely unusual. But why would there be Estrian vestiges in a place like this? That's the point, not in a place like this. This wasn't in the preliminary reports. The reason he gained the group's trust was because even Gallia recognized his info. He can't fail now. He just has to purify it. Galliat thinks, but he says he'll handle it. No need for Galliat to waste time on one undead. So he'll finish it himself. The clerics prepare to purify and start casting spells. Our protagonist is alert. An undead. In knight armor, it's a death knight. If they stay inactive, they could weaken it with purification and finish it with minimal losses. They immediately launch a stone strike and go all out, but the undead quickly wakes and feels the pressure. It's not easy. It immediately attacks the mage, and when they try to finish it, it's stopped by Galliat. That thing moves suddenly and managed to rip off an arm. It doesn't seem like a common undead. It's a death knight. But it's not a funeral knight either. Our protagonist had never heard of it. It might be weaker than a death knight individually, but the reason a funeral knight is dangerous is different. It can command other undead. He immediately sends them to fight. This is the mission. It's clear they must defeat the funeral knight. But first, he's going to reshape the terrain to neutralize its numerical advantage. Our protagonist casts a spell, and he doesn't know what's happening, but the ground suddenly shakes again. What's he doing? Trying to steal all the glory from Snake Gallia? But be rational. Once they're down there will be enough enemies for everyone. They can all handle him easily. And while he does that, the frantic knight is his. He immediately charges at our protagonist's attack, but he uses his multiple fire arrows. The undead are weak against holy and fire. In that case, he must hit harder. He uses his double conjuration, explosive fire arrow, and it keeps exploding, but this knight is very tough. Now with a fire spear stuck in his chest, it should be enough to take him down, but it only opened a hole. The knight throws his sword. Even after taking that frontal hit, he hasn't stopped and counterattacked. He's stronger than expected. If he blocks poorly, the mana barrier could break and bounce back on him. If that happens, he'll be completely exposed to the next attack. He uses an infernal wind wave with double conjuration and icy breath and manages to stop him. If fire doesn't work, he'll crush him with brute force. He uses a triple earth spear attack and a huge stone. He releases his mana concentration and hits him to the ground with the earth spear. But the knight releases a powerful aura. He can't believe he deflected that. But more importantly, his form has changed. He feels the pressure. Right now, he's out of mana. If this keeps up, he's done for. He feels something strange in the ground, and Gallia arrives, landing a blow. He's not giving up the main plate. Meanwhile, everyone down below survived against 3 lynxes. It would have been impossible without Miss Nerian, the gold rank. That makes it sound like Nerian did it all alone, which is unfair. But what is he talking about? He asks if the others are okay, but it's not time to worry about others. They should be starting to figure out how to attack. He doesn't think they can get out using normal methods. There's no way to reach the ceiling, and they don't have enough power to break the walls. If they get closer, they'll be buried alive. Meanwhile, Gallia keeps fighting this skeleton. They exchange blows, but he's very strong. He realizes he can take him down, but at that moment, our protagonist's attack comes, and he manages to hit him. Gallia Asher managed to dodge, and Gallia and Asher are definitely working as a team. He can't believe he can still move since he hasn't rested, but he needs to shut up and focus. Fighting that thing was brutal for him. Who would have thought a rotten corpse could be so entertaining to face head-on? He has to make sure to aim well, but he'll do his best. Kaliak. He uses his fragmentation skill and charges the attack with great strength, but immediately, it summons more undead and uses a mana explosion. To break free, he grabs him firmly and slams him to the ground. He wants him to move since our protagonist is coming with an attack, and he says he's completely crazy, almost burned him to a crisp. At that moment, he blocks another attack. The undead have come out, and he has to face them, but this one charges straight at our protagonist, and he knows he's in trouble since it's gotten too close. But right away, the necklace activates, and he manages to defend himself. He then recalls the conversation. Using a magic barrier directly will consume less mana. He's sure he's fine with that, so no problem. He was worried about mana exhaustion before, but luckily, there were no consequences. Still, the truth is his mana is running low, and his left shoulder, dislocated from the last hit, and worst of all, just before, he could calm it, that black tangle wrapped around his body. After manifesting it, he became much stronger. At that moment, the mage is there. Join the battle and try to stop him. That black armor? A death knight like this isn't recorded anywhere in the church's archives. They keep trying to stop him, but the clerics have to hold him tight. Then the chains break, and they know they're in trouble since he saved them. He asks if they want to die. They need to focus on the fight and not lose control. The mage he defeated. Our protagonist knows this is his chance, since everyone's distracted. He'll be the one to take down the death knight. He uses his earth spear and attacks from behind. But as he turns around, he blocks it and counters, injuring him. Gallia and our protagonist notice and immediately rush to heal him. The knight charges straight at our protagonist, but an angry Gallia hits him from behind and slams him to the ground. He asks Asher how much longer they'll wait. Is he going to launch a strong attack or not? He asks how long until his mana is ready. Just a few seconds, that's enough. The knight laughs and tells him to get ready. Then he starts hitting him repeatedly, trying to break all the armor parts he has. He should aim his magic where the armor is cracked first. The skeleton strikes him. A rotten corpse can't compare to him. He wants him to stay still and slams him to the ground again. At that moment, there's an opening. He's got him. The corpse immediately attacks and sends him flying. When it tries again, our protagonist appears. The hole in his chest hasn't closed yet. If he focuses his mana there, it'll finish him off. An attack comes at our protagonist. At that moment, Iris's attack arrives, redirecting his hand elsewhere. She seems very talented with ice magic, but hasn't fully mastered her elemental magic yet. She gave it her all so she wouldn't embarrass him. She made a solid attack, and thanks to her, he uses his flame attack. This victory will be theirs and is guaranteed. But first, we have a flashback. He will return. No matter how tough the battlefield, he will return to his homeland and to you. That's what he thought, but they learned what they should never have known. And that's why they'll never be able to return. He must return, Glorian. Our protagonist wakes up. Everyone was scared and wants to know if Asher is okay. He asks if the mission ended, and yes, thanks to him, it was a success. The Death Knight fell, and right after, the collapse happened suddenly. It must have been because of the relic in his hand. That relic carries the same persistent will as the Knight of Lament. He realizes what he thought. He was holding it so tightly he couldn't take it off. But it could be dangerous, so please. He wants him to hand it over. He says he'll keep it, but who knows what might happen. But it's fine, nothing will happen. He laughs at Amada's trophy for so much effort. But more importantly, what happened to Sir God? He's worried, but luckily, with quick medical attention, he'll live. Then that's enough, and they'll return to the hunt since it's complete. The undead led by the Death Knight who appeared in Byron's mine and have been defeated. The Lord, upon hearing the news, was horrified and immediately ordered the aftermath to be handled. Fortunately, not a single person who entered the mine lost their life. Though looking into the memory of the dead left his heart uneasy, restless, but there's something now for sure. He's gotten stronger. So he really grows faster through real combat, and yet he's still at the 3rd level. With the grimoire he joined and the challenge to the heavens, he can now cast area spells almost at the 4th level, though the 4th level is still far from reaching him. But if he doesn't give up, someday he'll catch up. That's why he'll make it the challenge to the heavens, and with that, the matter is settled. The priests of the Lua's order decided to keep watch over the mine. Meanwhile, the adventurers headed to their own territories. Gallia asked Asher if he was leaving. It seems he doesn't plan to become a mercenary adventurer. He's thinking of joining the Greys. Maybe, but he doesn't even know what that is or who the Greys are. How does he plan to make money? Don't tell me he thinks fame alone will make people come looking for him. That won't work. He asks, but he's a completely clueless tower mage. To put it simply, they're like shadow dealers. They buy and sell information. Reliability is guaranteed, and at the same time, they act as intermediaries for commissions. That means there are more like him than he thinks, people who want money and fame without being tied to the rules. So why tell him this? Because they crossed the line between life and death together. Who said he could call him a comrade? That's why he was locked in the tower, and he wouldn't know that commissions come with risks. It means he'd face strong opponents frequently, which also means more chances to get stronger. The departure is soon. He asked Asher if he's going to level up when he returns to Marte. He'll have to ask more about elemental magic. But why is he standing there? She thinks he'll fly back with magic, but she thanks him for the training magic. Keep training elemental magic like you do now. He has a place he must go. Truly, it all started suddenly. He saved his life, taught him theories, and elemental magic he never learned at the academy, as suddenly as they met. He knew the day would come when they'd part ways. He just never thought it would be today. Right now, he has no right to try to stop him, so they'll see each other next time. The next time they meet, he'll be stronger. He'll work hard to become that junior he can be proud of. We go with our protagonist's old friend, who is searching for answers. Why did the Black Horde attack Bohemir Tower? We go with his old friend, who is looking for answers about why they attacked Bohemir Tower. The Black Horde is a group that has crossed the limits of mages and attacked their third secret base. However, nothing is known yet about the details of that assault on Bohemir Magic Tower. The high ranks don't know anything about an attack on the Magic Tower, and Verdan, his friend, is missing. Roblin has been impressive, a second-level spell having so much power, as expected from those with special ranks. He's the third disciple of Valdek. Lucar Maniac said he'd handle this. How could he not? But he can't send just anyone a talent who could become a quarter disciple of the Master in the future. But he better focus on his own thesis. It's not his work on the multiple continuity theory published 7 years ago. He's heard many are eagerly awaiting his work, but he doesn't know if he can cause the same stir as 7 years ago with just his ability. But his ability, don't tell me he still believes the rumors from 7 years ago. That article was recognized by the Tower Master as written by him. Does he feel jealous? But the result of 7 years of growth from such an extraordinary person seems questionable. It's only a 4th level spell, so he's going to quit? How dare that girl? Always meddle in everything. And now she comes to talk in front of her? That it's already over now that Verdan is dead. No one will know he stole the thesis. He's getting more and more insolent and attacks. A mere 3rd level spell isn't a big deal. The problem is adjusting it, but he can't let his emotions turn him against the Tower Master. Anyway, if he keeps his reputation and reaches the 5th level, it will be his world. It will be his world. That guy can still be eliminated later. In the end, time is on his side. We go with our protagonist. Before leaving Byron's domain, he visited the town located in Gray. Recommended by Gallard, he arrived at Cohen. Cohen, known for its special industry and manufacturing. It's a city that attracts those seeking stable jobs thanks to its good security. But because of this, as more people arrive, the gap between rich and poor grows. The poor neighborhoods in Cohen are known as the worst in the domains, which he should look for in these poor neighborhoods. It's clearly different from the city center. Even the poor neighborhoods in Marty weren't like this. Still, there's no bad smell. This is where the informant is. It's the wooden arrowhead. They shrink upon entering and tell him there's no service. He must come back later. He says he was recommended by the butcher. They ask his name, and it's Archer. It looks exactly like he heard. With the butcher's trust, they skip the formalities. Through that hallway, he goes down to the basement. As a precaution, he doesn't want to cause trouble. If he doesn't want both of them tired or married, it's better to stay calm. He sees it as a warehouse, but someone tells him where to go, and behind the shop, there's a secret space. 2 mages, an archer, and 1 unconfirmed, plus some Chinese swordsmen, all came to request or receive information from the informant. The guide ends there. After going down, he must wait in front of the service window. After going down, he must wait at the service window. They greet Asher. He's the informant of Gray in the southern domain, Pale. The Gray informant first sits and talks. Since appearing in the Pite domain, his track record is impressive. In a short time, he's done research, and information is power. He came for a request for information, and he needs both data and history. They can assign him a task, but the information and tasks given vary according to rank, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. The value and circulation of information always come with responsibility. Like risking your life as an informant, it's natural to evaluate the trust and ability of the requester. In other words, there are no exceptions to the ranking system. He doesn't think they can get information now about the treasures brought from the Magic Tower. He also needs money. Maybe he'll get a task to level up. He asks if he can choose since they'll offer several options, and he'll pick. First, he must complete the questionnaire. It's a simple procedure, and our protagonist does it. But Asher's tendency is more adventurer than mercenary, so he'll handle it perfectly. It's not much different from the trips he's done so far. It's about exterminating some harmful creatures. He asks if it's human extermination, but this kind of task exists. But this time, the extermination target is a beast. Lore, wolf. A beast house. Normally, countries or territories handle this through guilds. From this, you can see the relationship between guilds and countries. Countries can deal with damage caused by monsters through guilds. Although lords or countries sometimes hunt directly with troops, in that case, materials obtained from the hunt belong entirely to the lord. Therefore, guilds in charge of distributing monster materials inevitably fail. However, such actions result in the creation of many monsters if there aren't enough troops. The territory turns into their nest, so except for emergencies, the monster house's priority is the guilds, but they always want to get the most valuable materials first. The legendary wolf's larynx is one of those. In the end, it's about fulfilling the demands of those lords or countries, according to Gray's info, and completing the orders received from that info source. That's what they're doing now. When they arrived, they did great. They defeated that wolf. But it doesn't seem like a common third-rank enemy. The normal enemies were wiped out with an area attack, and the legendary wolf, which was from the house's target, was handled carefully without damaging its larynx. They arrived 2 days before the appointment, and the larynx quality is top-notch. He's satisfied he got a good arrowhead. Let's go again. How about asking if he gave it his all? Looks like he found exactly what he was looking for, since, after arriving in Kohen, he got a request to make armor from mammoth skin. A custom set can be made top and bottom. He asked but was surprised when he saw the skin. That ring can be restored? He asks. He was tasked with restoring the ring he received on Tuesday. And about the ring he brought, it also seems to be a magical item. It's different from a normal ring restoration, so he hopes to inspect it for a moment. He knows it's badly damaged, so its effect can't be identified. But it's definitely a magical item, and he'll cover the repair costs as a magical object. They'll meet again in 2 weeks. Since then, he kept getting requests from Pale and started staying in Kohen. Pale gave him tasks, and he completed them, getting paid from capturing fugitives and clearing bandit gangs too, attacking illegal slave traders. Fighting high-level mercenaries, the variety of jobs was wide. A month passed since he arrived in Kohen, and the ring was finally repaired. But its effects still couldn't be identified. There seemed to be no progress, so he decided to repair it himself at that moment. A little girl hits him, and he manages to save her with ice magic. His granddaughter was rude, but it's fine. No problem, it seems the girl is okay, so he's about to leave. Still, he was considerate so the granddaughter wouldn't get hurt. Feeling bad about letting her go, he decides to read her fortune as thanks. She says her grandmother is usually right about that, and if he insists so much, she'll go with her. She wants to know the fortune of a handsome mage, but he doesn't believe in superstitions. Revealing his card, he wants to know his prediction. No, but it's a good one. It says he should just live like he is now, but that's not very promising after all. So he leaves and tells her to be careful. She asks how the mage's prediction was, but that's strange, since the old woman looks a bit surprised. It represents human life, death, and birth. That all this is reversed means chaos departing from the original destiny. Deciding to repair the ring himself, he didn't expect progress either. There's no future to see in chaos. If it doesn't work, in a few days he'll have to find an expert. If he fails, he'll disappear, or become someone who has it all and rules the world, though, with infinite possibilities. He doesn't know what to do. He just hopes the potential won't bring darkness to the world. At that moment, he sees something strange, a star. We switch to another man who's also watching it. He's studied astrology for a long time, but he's never seen a star of that magnitude. Nothing can be read from it, and it affects other stars. A star that should have fallen already is still there, a fate that shouldn't disappear. It has vanished. Please, he is the star of inverted chaos. And we see he has our protagonist's ring. He hopes it won't twist his destiny. Then we return to our protagonist. After confirming the hidden map in the ring, he started moving from Kohen to the Bart Mountain Range, unaware of the fate the ring indicated. 3 weeks have passed since he left without informing Pale. He wonders if Gray's info book will follow him. He finally arrived via roads and carriages without using magic. Is this the town near the Bart Mountain Range? First, the destination is in the nearby forest. It'd be good to hire an expert hunter familiar with local geography as a guide. Passing by some people, they seem pleased. That's just right now. That man is exactly his type. He asks if he can go for a moment. But again, he's being annoying, a noisy one. His name is Ferris. Individual actions aren't allowed. You can't leave before completing the mission. But after the mission, you can do whatever you want. You need to focus. They should find the traitor and eliminate him quickly. This is unbelievable. Those guys are talking about killing someone here? What a horrible rumor. They immediately tell the others they have to take care of them. 4 days later, in the nearby forest of the mountain range, our protagonist is on a campfire. There's nothing to gather so far. The guide he hired looks very tired, and although he constantly checks for magic detection, nothing shows up in this place. It'd be better to turn back, but at that moment he feels something strange. There are trees of different colors at regular intervals. He thinks there's some kind of pattern here. He's flown over several times until now, and today he confirmed it. Why didn't he notice before? If he consciously looks again, he couldn't find it any other way. The whole forest is a huge magic concealment circle. Who would make a seal of this level? That central tree is the core. The estimated time is about an hour. Within that, he'll dismantle the circle. But at that moment, he feels pressure. He's lost his mind again. He keeps taking something. That potion is no longer working, but he must endure. Soon the moment will come when the world changes. Who's there? He wants to know if the Black Horde sent him, but he doesn't know why they mention his name. It's not like that. It's just someone who followed that ring. I can't believe it. That's Crescent, and he immediately coughs up blood. Where did he get that ring? A high-level concealment circle of this size? Apparently, it's related to the ring. He's no ordinary old man. He must be careful. He wants him to explain why he's here. He's cautious and likes it, but he must explain about that ring first. He wants to know how he got through the seal. Most of the dozens of entrances are closed, but he says he dismantled the circle in 4 hours. He can't believe it. At that age, he already has the knowledge and skill to do that. Then he asks again, what is that ring? You could say it's destiny, the destiny that connected people who didn't even know each other. He lost that ring 15 years ago, and his name is Hard Chan Days, a 5th-rank mage who mastered expert-level alchemy, magic circles, and astrology called the Sage. He had a friend who reached 6th rank and set out to found the Magical Research Society. And yes, that's how the Black Hour began. What started with 8 people grew to over 100 years later. The world admired them, but also feared them, and rightly so, since they had enough power to face even small countries. But his friend didn't lead the Black Hour down that path. Now they had more tasks than before and were still a group of pure magic students until he died. I couldn't believe it, but Dai, who eliminated him, was a disciple they all created together. He doesn't know what this is. He's taking control of the Black Hour. Diet Wesley, blinded by the growth limit of 7th rank, didn't see his true intentions. From today, the Black Hour belongs to him, and when they reached old age, he had already reached 6th rank. Most of them. They were killed or seriously injured by Dai and his subordinates. He escaped alive while his internal magic circle was completely destroyed. With vengeance burning in his heart, 15 years have passed with that grudge inside him. Now he's sitting here. That means the Black Hour's evils are being committed. It has nothing to do with him. That's right, although he used his astrology skills to see the future back then, he couldn't foresee something like this. So he had no choice but to wait for the pair of rings he left behind while rising, guided by Crescent. The destiny to save the world is a great evil, it refers to him. For something of that magnitude, there must be a corresponding reward. What can he offer if he makes the promise? The sage Harkham will give him everything he's achieved. He can't believe it. It's hard to understand, but he only has anger toward the Bohemia Magic Tower, and Vargo Rebesia's just personal grudge and desire for revenge. But prioritizing the world over avenging the Black Hour that betrayed him, he wants to know what he means by what he's achieved. But at that moment, he realizes someone else has come looking for him. They finally found him. Who are they? He asks if it's Arkan Days, the Black Hour traitor. But it was Dai who sent him. He asks if he wants to join. What insolence! He is their master. He doesn't believe anyone like them broke his barrier. It was Dai personally, but he thinks a simple old man wouldn't come in person. He used an artifact that tracks magical power. He wants to know why he's looking for him now, but getting to the point. Recently, the Bohemia Magic Tower collapsed. Many mages died. Since the history of magic began, there's never been such a disaster. But someone's blaming them for it, and because of that, the tower's enforcers are attacking them. Dai sees it as the work of someone not hostile, and he's also in the line of fire. He asks if he admits it, but he shouldn't say nonsense. If he had the power to bring down Dai's tower, he wouldn't have killed him long ago. He uses his triple cast, Fire Stream, Wind Burst, and Ice Spear to attack them. He doesn't know what's going on, but the tower and the Black Hour are at war. And with the tower busy, it's an advantage for him. Harkin had disciples he doesn't know, but if he eliminates them, the problem will be solved. She wants to add him to her collection. Since that girl is crazy, that face is approved for the collection, and she charges. She uses her 4th level fire barrier. They can't believe it. She can handle high-level properties, the rest are wind and telekinesis. That silver-haired guy is mid-level 4th rank. She wants to hug him tightly and charges. Attacks again, but it passes. He uses his Earth Sphere and controls multiple properties, and the triple cast is impressive. But according to the spell he uses, he barely reaches high-mid 3rd level. So why didn't his magical intimidation work on him? This girl's still crazy. She wants to hug our protagonist. He grabs her by the neck and breaks a 4th level spell, with 3rd level magic on top. He'll use Ferris as a shield. This is insolence, but as he tries to eliminate her, he's thrown flying. They're outnumbered. That bastard, how dare he do that to her? Our protagonist uses a stone wall. It's amazing he countered. High-level magic with lower-level magic, using unconventional magic like terrain manipulation with such power. Who is this guy really? But he collected and doesn't want to eliminate him. Meanwhile, they go hide in another room. Protecting him and fighting at the same time is impossible, but he's held up well and asks if he can fly. Since this old man caused an explosion, he tells him to go that way. The bottom can't be seen, and they immediately start walking. But someone who breaks the limits of magic and creates their own path is a mage. He opens that vault and gives him something. Among those mages, Harkins is a great mage. After grinding rare herbs, he mixes them with moonlight and starlight, a masterpiece made in less than 5,000 days. If you drink it, you can gain attributes you never had before. You'll enter a realm no mage has reached before, no side effects. The destiny that's not yours will just pass by. There's no time left. He won't ask for mercy or promise to fulfill wishes, so you must accept that. He just wants you to see how far your destiny is set. He feels a strange power. This isn't magic, it has no reason to harm him, so he can trust them. They're going to fix something. There's no predestined fate in this world, and he takes it as a mage and astrologer. Harkin had observed the fate of many, and only then did he understand that predestined fate doesn't exist. As he takes it, a strange power leaves our protagonist's body. It looks like the constellations and starlight, the distortion of fate he felt. The young mage in front of him was precisely the star against the sky. And this story will continue since we've reached chapter 27, the latest available in this series. If you liked it, give me a like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Love you guys. Bye.